Hello, friends. As promised, we are back, and in this episode, we are going to hit our goal of 100 duplicants, and the very last duplicant is going to be Jorge. I know people call him George, but it's spelled like Jorge, so I'm going to say Jorge. There we go. We're going to get him out of here. So, just in case you are new here, or if you want a refresher, probably good for video structure too, let's talk about our rules. We need to be playing on the Frosty DLC, we have to get every achievement possible, and we have to take every single duplicant up until 100. And we are well on pace for that. We're at 91, and I want Jorge to be ready for the 100th duplicant. So we just need to build a ladder up here and knock on the door. So whenever my duplicants can get there, they will do it. Who's peeing on the floor? Why are you doing this? What is going on? We're out of water? Oh, output pipe full? Oh, it's because this didn't get finished. Oh, I forgot to hook this back up. I even watched this in editing, and I was like, I need to remember to do that, and I totally didn't do it. So I guess we're just going to have another pea storm. There you go. All right, so like we mentioned, we do need to refilter all of our gases, so that's coming up. I need to build out more tiles, because apparently I didn't do that yet. I'll just add the airflow tiles to them later. We have like a million dupes, it'll be fine. There you go, there's part of the storm. Alright, the other thing that we need to do, that we didn't do last time, that I'm still a little bothered by, is we didn't finish our cooling setup. We definitely need that, but we also need all of our pipes and stuff to finish for the steel and the or rather the plastic, I guess, from Nectar. So we need a lot of stuff to happen before this is all going to come together. If we do get the Hermit out early, I will hold on this and not complete the quest until it's at 100 duplicants. Or I guess 99, so he is the 100th. So that'll be the plan. I don't know exactly what we're going to need to get this done. I know that he does ask for some pretty high quality food at one point, and I don't know if we're capable of producing enough. I think that the deep fryer will help, but if we can't get it all through deep fryers, let's see, the quality here is great, good, and good. I don't remember exactly what level he asks for. Also, I don't think any of this stuff counts. It might be only +4 and above, so we might need to do some silly stuff and get a new type of cooking. I have not found any natural gas on the map yet, so we're going to have to manufacture some if we need to. And I don't mean like taking some farting dupes, but that would be kind of funny if we did it that way. You know, just capture their farts so that we could release the duplicant that's stuck in a shipping container over here. But I don't know if we're going to need to do that. Another way to do it that somebody mentioned in the comments that was a really good idea is creating fertilizer. As far as I understand, creating fertilizer... Where is this? Do I not have it yet? I don't know, but creating fertilizer will apparently release some natural gas. It's been so long since I've created fertilizer, like literally years, so I don't remember what all goes into that. I know it's like dirt and polluted water from what I remember, but do I not have this? There we go. Oh no, I do. Where is it? Why is this always so hard to find? It was probably already on here earlier, and then I passed it up because I didn't see it. Okay, whatever. I'm going to find it, and that'll be our backup option if we need natural gas to cook some food. So that'll be the idea. Jeez, now this is really bothering me. Is it in here? Yeah, okay. Let's see. What does this put out? Yeah, natural gas is one of the byproducts. Fertilizer, some heat, takes polluted water, dirt, phosphorite. Man, this thing is so complicated. But we do have all that stuff just in case we need it. So we'll see what quality level of food he expects. I forgot to put some jackets on some people. But yeah, I'm really just trying to stall until we knock on the door. But once we do, I'll come back and tack on another section and we'll move forward. All right, here we go. Someone should be showing up here momentarily to knock on the door. Probably someone from kind of far away since they're going to be doing other errands. There we go, it's Otto. There he is. So now we made some progress, and we're going to need a few things. So we need to deliver some food, we need to improve the decor nearby, and we need to turn on festive lights. We also need to keep this powered for long enough, which might be one of the harder things for us to get done, because it's just going to take a little while. So we might not be ready exactly at 100, but we'll try. We'll see what we get. Also, the food that we need to deliver here, we can just pick a food that is ready to be sent over. So I can ban my duplicants from eating certain things for a little bit. So let me ban them from eating... Man, this takes forever to open this with this many duplicants. I swear I clicked it. Come on. There. So I'll ban my duplicants from eating this, and then I will have this be delivered to Jorge in here. So we'll get all this hooked up, and as soon as we make some more progress on that, we'll come back. Or if there's anything else happening, because I'm just going to be creating steel and plastic and that kind of stuff up until it is enough to create our cooling setup. So we will do that, and I'll keep you posted if anything else happens. Oh, one other thing that I want to do. I do want to create a domesticated area for these seals. I think it's time to do that because we could use more eggs, and the flocks are just not giving us enough on their own. So I'm going to create a setup here that's going to be for these seals. I guess if this area is really cold too, I guess I don't need to do this. I could just use regular tiles. So we will just set up something for these seals, and I guess I can just speed run it here really quick. So the idea is just going to be a chamber at the bottom that can catch all of the ethanol that they're going to be producing. The seals will just eat directly from these bonbon trees, so these things. So we do need to plant a few of them, and I'll figure out all the spacing and stuff when that happens, but at least let's check off the things we know we need. So we need an area down below that is going to catch all of our ethanol so we can pump it out. We also need an area up above that we can ranch them and also plant the food that they like. So we will need to set up something with a couple doors on the end so we can ranch them. And then this room can only be 96 tiles, otherwise it's going to be too small to, or rather too big or too small, whichever one, to maximize our space for this stable. So here we go. Something like this, and we'll delete the ladders once everything else gets built. And we'll plug in a couple trees. We'll figure out all the other little parts of it once this is all built out. So either when that comes back or when Jorge needs more attention or whatever else we might need to do, we'll get on top of that. Oh, we can also probably force some shellfish tempura to get made by exterminating these cute little Sani shells, who will definitely fight back and hurt us. They're not that cute. All right, lots of things going on, but we'll be back in a bit. Alright, there he is, taking the food that I gave to him. We dropped off some shellfish tempura. It looks like the level that needs to be sent to him is +4 or higher, and we don't have the ability to make all that with the tools we have right now. So I think we're going to have to set up a fertilizer setup. We also did finish up the decor. It is a little bit lower right now because there's some debris on the ground, but I'll add a couple more statues just to make it nice and festive out here. So there we go. Took my food, and now we need to make a couple more, but we need a fertilizer setup. So what I'm going to do is we have a lot of polluted water that's going to be coming through our metal refineries because that's what we're going to be using to make steel, like we talked about in the last video. But we're going to send all this really hot polluted water into our fertilizer machine. So let's build a little room for that, which I'm just going to toss right here, and we're just going to put a liquid lock in like we typically would so that any of the natural gas will be easily captured. We could also do something like build it down on the edge here so that we have a place to put our pump like that. And then just put a few fertilizer synthesizers in here and do the best we can to produce some natural gas so that we can eventually create food using our gas range. I will place that in our food area for our colony, which we apparently... That bug has been around for so long, I'm just shocked it hasn't been fixed yet. We'll go ahead and toss a couple of them in here like this. Then we'll see what kind of recipes we have to work with these things so that we can get the last 2 of those checked off. It looks like he's only looking for 3 different foods of that quality. So let me get this filled up with some kind of liquid. Maybe ethanol, I guess. That's the most best option right now. He scrawled a thank you note. Thank you. Hermit loved the food. Yeah, we just need to make some progress here. The grid ought to be on well in time for him to be number 100. So I'll just wait until we actually accept him in there, if we do get that far in that amount of time. But the fertilizer is definitely the priority here. So I'm just having to mop up pee all over the place. We're waiting for our water situation to get fixed once again. It was not pumping for just a minute, so I'm just going to be pumping it from all the excess stuff that's down here right now. And we'll fix up this setup in just a bit, but yeah. Apparently, once you have 92 duplicants, if you run out of water, then it just turns into pee all over your base, which is just great. Let's talk about this room, which is going to be where we handle our spigot seals. So what I want to do is create a tile for farming, also known as a farm tile. And I'm going to put... I don't know how many I should put in here. Let's see how much snow we have. I know this uses it down really quickly, but we have a lot of snow and we haven't touched it yet. So let's build 4. And I'm going to build these a couple spaces apart, because on the spaces in between them, I'm going to put all those crystals, or the quartzes rather. I'll send them back into the main part of our base. And we'll place them all on here to get as much light out for these as possible. So that's going to be where the trees are planted. We will want some shipping in here just to be able to deliver the snow. We could also deliver the snow from underneath, but if I can deliver it from the top, it'll also get all the eggs out of here as well. So might as well do that. Get both of them done at the same time. These will... Yeah, I'll have to move this rail up just a bit. It's coming in at just a bad angle. There we go. Then we will need the other stations for ranching, which are pretty standard. So we need the critter drop-off so we can ask for more of them. We need the grooming station so that we can actually tame them. So there we go. And we already have a room for the spigot seals here for any excess eggs. We have them all ready for the flocks and all that fun stuff. Is this on the right way? I feel like something is not right. How many are in here? 8, 8. Yeah, those are both sending green signals. That's what it is. Only need to be sending that signal to ask for more flocks if we are not at capacity, which we already are. My frame rate's also getting pretty terrible because of how many duplicants we have and how big the map is. I did just order more computer parts to help that out, by the way, so this performance problem shouldn't stick around for too long, but definitely once we get this big, it'll be a little bit of an issue. So, let me get the rest of this built out. We'll plant our trees, we'll start moving seals in here, and when my duplicants can get the shell of our little fertilizer room, we're going to deconstruct all this by the time we put up our cooling anyway, but they can put up the shell of our fertilizer room so that we can start manufacturing some natural gas, just as a byproduct of what we're doing here. Yeah, and we'll continue on that path so we can get Jorge. Man, this many duplicants, stuff gets done really fast, and there's a lot of things going on right now, so let's try to run through them pretty quickly. Just saw Jorge poking his face through the window here. We're making a little bit of progress. We have the lights on, the decor is good. We still need 2 more pieces of food at the mailbox, and we need to... Oh, we already did knock on the door. So our progress on that is good so far. The other thing that I'm a little bit worried about is being able to find the other sources of food for him. So let's take a look at what options we have. So we've already given him the shellfish tempura. The fish tacos, we don't have pacus, so we can't really do that. Neither of these are good enough quality, so those are out. Let's check this. All of this is not good enough quality. It needs to be +4, so those are out. Let's check the grill. So all these are not +4 quality, so these are out. Which means we're down to this last piece of tech to get our food put together for the Hermit. So that's good, 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 good. The problem, though, let's go through this. We don't have peppers, we don't have bristleberries. In here, we could get lettuce. We have plenty of seeds for that. We don't have mushrooms. Here, we don't have fish. We don't have peppers. We don't have mushrooms again. We don't have tonic root. Scroll down. We don't have peppers again. And we could get this, so we have one option right now. We still need one more, which means we need to find another source of food. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to get him right now. Mostly because if nothing else spawns on this map, then we inadvertently did not, or rather we did not know, and it wasn't on purpose, that we wouldn't be able to get this if there's not the right foods here. So we need to find another biome that has one of those food types around here. We could at least get the burger out of the way, and that'll be simple enough. But yeah, this is not the greatest situation to find ourselves in, but we'll figure it out. Okay, another thing is I have been forgetting this in so many segments. Somebody out there is probably like, check the achievement. Ugh. And here's what it is. So we finally finished up the trio. That's usually the hardest 3 to get. Super sustainable, locavore, carnivore. So there you go. Lots of other achievements here. We will probably just burn them down pretty quickly because there's not too many that are all that difficult. One of the longer ones might take this smooth hatch ranching. We might need to work on that for a little while before we get the right eggs and that kind of stuff. But the rest of this is not really that big of a deal. This one is going to be crazy. I did not stay up on this one at all. And that was probably a mistake, meaning that we're going to have to make some kind of strategy to get all 100 of our duplicants to do a task in an Atmos suit. So that's definitely one of the worst ones, but I do think if we have them all put them on at the same time and just run through a normal day, we should be fine. Yeah, that might be what I do, and I think we should be able to get it, but it will require a lot of resources, because 100 Atmos suits at a time is no small task. Yeah, the rest of this is definitely doable, assuming that we can get to everything. We've only tamed one thing on this list, so we've got a ways to go. All right, let me check my list here. Oh, fertilizer. Let's start getting on top of that. So, here's our room for it. That's what we were waiting for. Let's get there. Why do I always forget what this is? Refinement. Let's get our fertilizer synthesizer. Let's throw a couple in here. Maybe a third one? I don't know how fast this is going to produce the natural gas we're going to need. So, let's at least expand the room enough so we can build a third one. And then we can just put the pump a little bit lower. So, let me reshape this room a little bit. But what's going to be going into this is all this hot, polluted water. So I'm just going to start sending that in there now. And we just need that, we need dirt, and we need phosphorite. I could ship all of that stuff up here, but I guess they're already on a couple of lines right now. So I guess I'll do that. So yeah, we'll get that all finished up here in just a bit. We'll get my duplicants on top of running that. How many watts does this take, by the way? 120. Okay, that's not bad. Maybe I have another line that I can connect it up to that's nearby. Let's just try this and see if it works. And if it doesn't, then we'll figure something else out. Okay, let's talk about the seal setup now. So we are waiting for our bonbon trees to grow. We will be filling these with snow. So that's what that empty conveyor loader was right here. So let's set this up for snow. There we go. And any snow that we have can just be loaded in there and automatically loaded into the farm tiles. We'll start getting seals in here once those trees are growing enough, because if we send them in there now, there's not really going to be a point. The other thing that we need to do, I think I got all of the carved lumen quartzes from around the map, except for the ones that we are using on the trees that are already out here. So what I wound up doing was just putting them on the pedestal, because if you were to put a bunch of them here, as soon as the next meteor shower happens, it just knocks them all off. So that's not very pleasant. So we'll just use the ones we have here down in this area to provide light for us. And if we need more light, we can always just install the small lights, these guys, to get some more. But we're really only needing to keep seals fed. We don't really need the ethanol right now. So I'm not going to worry too much about this being like a perfect setup. I just want to increase our egg production and increase our tallow production. So we'll have to probably just move these one at a time. There's 8 spots here, and I guess I'll just more densely populate the inner ones. So well, we have 15, 14, 13, divided by 3. Yeah, we could probably put about 4 on each of these platforms, give or take. So there we go. One more thing that is going on. So many things are changing all at once. We pointed out the problem earlier of having all of our wastewater going back into the main network and it being really small packets sometime and slowing down the whole system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of our bathrooms off of the main network and onto its own independent one. So I'm just going to disconnect this, and any of the wastewater that comes back from these bathrooms, those ones and our ones all the way over here, will just go into its own water sieve. It will then come out of the water sieve and feed 2 out of 3 of those systems. The third one is so awkward, and it also connects up to our oxygen, that I'm not going to worry about putting it on its own line. It should be fine and will at least reduce the demand. So that will probably do it. Let me disconnect it here. And then this also needs to be reconnected in a way so that we are drawing water for all of these things through this pipe. Actually, oh no, that's the outlet. Yeah, we want this. Okay. Man, this is a mess of pipes. And then the connections through here, we don't want to send it into these bathrooms anymore, but I still do need to send it down because there are things that are asking for water down here, namely these standalone electrolyzers, which we'll fix eventually. They're not really hurting anything too much right now by being out in the open air, but we will correct that eventually. So yeah, that should do it for fixing up some of our water problems that we were having in terms of like not sending enough back in the system. This will need a little bit of a seed, so I will need to hook it up for the time being, like so. And as soon as this tank starts to fill up a little bit, I will disconnect it. And then any runoff from this tank, we're just going to send back into the main system. So it can just be something like this. I guess if any requesters are over here asking for it, we could just put it back on that line. Yeah, that should be fine. So we'll just kind of connect it down here, and it'll just get back into the system. This looks like a mess. It kind of is, but it makes sense. All you can really think about, or need to think about here, is all of the bathrooms and stuff, they are connected to this water sieve. Everything else is connected to our main system here. And if it becomes even more of a demand that we can't keep up with, we might need to split this into 2 different sides. With this many duplicants asking for this much water, it can really be a problem. Okay, so much stuff is going on. Let's speed through the fertilizer, and once we start getting enough natural gas to get that other food cooked, we also need to make sure that we can actually find some other types of food. Otherwise, this is going to get a little bit strange. We might have to just sit at 99 for a little while, which I guess technically violates our challenge rules, but I didn't know what kind of biomes would be on this map, so if we don't find the right stuff, then we'll have to just wait until we get rockets to get all that weird stuff. Assuming it's even out there, I don't know. So, yeah, wow. Okay, this video is going way longer than I expected. Let's get this fertilizer up. We'll get the filtration system going. Filtration system is going to be pretty straightforward. It's going to be things we've already really done before. Why is this not deconstructing? So we're just going to be filtering out the natural gas. Any natural gas that we get from here is just going to go straight over into our gas ranges. So that's the plan. All right, let's hopefully advance quite a bit of time before we come back so that this video doesn't drag on forever. Well, another look into the process of how these videos are made and how I am constantly making mistakes, but also checking to see if I'm making mistakes. I was listening to the last section that I did and was like, is there really no other foods on this map that we could use to get our beloved Hermit out of his hiding area? So what I did is something that I should have done the whole time, which is look up our seeds and see what we have. And look at this. We have pincha pepper seeds. I have no idea where these came from, because I don't remember them being in any particular biome. So anyway, I guess we have that. So let's start a pepper setup, which will help us finish this up. So, all we need is to grow the peppers, and the peppers grow upside down. They're a little weird. So we're going to put them I guess right here. The idea with this is these need to grow at a pretty high temperature. So I'm going to put them into their own little room that is behind a liquid lock, which is what we do. That's just what we do here. We're going to grow these upside down, and I'll put in some sweepers here down at the bottom. This looks like a mess right now. I mean, it is a mess, but you know what I mean. To get this all in here, I guess this doesn't need to go all the way over here. Why did I do that? There we go. So this is going to be a room. This is going to be a room, poetry, that we grow our peppers in, and then all the infrastructure for shipping stuff is going to be down here at the bottom. I'm pretty sure that the sweepers can reach that far. Yeah. So these will also take phosphorite. One of these lines is also going to be for phosphorite. This is going to get to be a pretty warm area, and we also have a warm source of polluted water already. So that's going to be what we use. Why is this disconnected? Oh, it's because I was connecting it up to these tanks. Man, this is such a mess. I have not played with 100 duplicants for a really long time, and I have seemed to have forgotten how chaotic this is. So, since we have our line of warm polluted water, it's coming out of here at, I don't know, 48 or 23. Who knows what the difference is with that. But we're going to have a good line of polluted water for this. We're going to grow our peppers here upside down. I still am racking my brain trying to think of what biome would have had this in there. And I can't really think of any. Maybe these ones? Yeah? Yeah, okay, there it is. Yeah, so that makes sense. I forgot that they were even in these biomes. I only think of these as like lettuce and poke shells and salt and sand and everything else that's in here. But I totally forgot that pinch of peppers were in there. So we're going to put our peppers up, and that will get us a couple of different foods. One can be pepper bread. What's another one that we could do? I guess we could do the burger. We could do the tofu. What else does this take? I guess that's it. So, burgers or tofu? What does he want more? I do need to grow lettuce, so I'm just going to be lazy and we're going to make tofu. So tofu really just requires water, which we already have a drop for right here. Sneaky over there on the side of the screen. That requires that and the nosh beans. So I need to not make the nosh noms if I get the opportunity. And that will come up soon. The tofu can be made here. Oh, we already have enough for it. Okay, cool. So once the peppers are ready, we will send our natural gas over there. Our natural gas is just connected up via a really long line that connects all the way over to our fertilizer room. Our fertilizer room has a pump in it that's going to be checking to make sure that this is natural gas, and that there's an Atmos sensor that's checking the pressure. So once we're at high enough pressure, it'll start pumping it out. This is going faster than I thought, and my duplicants have so many open errands right now. It's taking them a long time to do everything, but I'm at least glad that we don't have to like desperately search around the map for other biomes to get this achievement, or not achievement, but I guess get Jorge as our last duplicant. So let me see how long it takes for these peppers to grow, because it'd be interesting to see if we're like right in the nick of time. Yeah, domestic 8 cycles. We only need 3 more duplicants. That's about 8 cycles. So, I mean, it's like 9, but close enough. Let's get our pepper room built, and then as soon as those peppers are ready to harvest, we'll get him out of there, and we will call it a day. Let's rush these. There we go. So yeah, we'll get that. Once we have it, I don't know how long I'm going to keep this up for. I do need to put up our cooling systems, and our steel count is looking decent so far. I do want at least a couple of aqua tuners, which were actually there right now, and a couple of liquid reservoirs for these. We'll talk about that when it's time. Yeah. Jeez, so much stuff going on, and it's all happening so fast. So I actually might keep this room up. I might just move it over. I don't know why I built it here in the first place. That was kind of not the smartest thing. I could probably just put it over here. We could just scoot it over time. It's not like we're short on duplicants, so we'll be able to do this in plenty of time. So yeah, let's get this all set up and get these planted, and as soon as this room is up and running, I'll come back and show you the in and outs of it. Then we will get Jorge on our team. Okay, we've got our pepper room basically done. We just need to wait for it to hold heat because these peppers will only grow at temperatures higher than like 35 degrees. So if I just planted these, it's going to be too cold. So I've got a couple things to help out. This electrolyzer will be creating oxygen for the duplicants that are in here, and it'll be producing its own heat. I'm also sending all of the ethanol that we get from distilling our wood down through these pipes and eventually into these tanks. My performance is really struggling here as I'm recording, so let me slow it down a little bit. So we've got that. The warm water from our metal refineries is heading down here as well. So this should all warm up in time, and we should be able to get these done. I'm also using the fertilizer that we have because we might as well. We're producing fertilizer right now, so I set up the stations to help these grow a little bit faster so that hopefully we will have them done when it is time to take our 100th duplicant, which is like roughly cycle 300, a little bit before then. So that's going to be the aim, is getting this out and getting the food ready for Jorge as soon as possible. So we just need to wait for this area to warm up, need to wait for them to grow, and once it's done, we'll get them cooked. The two things we're going to be cooking are going to be tofu and pepper bread. So when we have the supplies for it, they should just make the pepper bread because it's already ready. And the tofu I'll just need to make when it's time. I don't want to make it too early because then we might wind up ruining it. So I will make that when it's time, and when these are coming out and when we deliver them to Jorge, that'll be it. And that'll be duplicate number 100. So we'll come back around then. Okay, friends, here we go. Jorge just grabbed our spicy tofu, and we fed him pepper bread earlier. So I think he is ready to join us, and that will put us at 100 duplicants. So let's complete this. Hey, there we go. Got himself a balloon. Everybody's happy to see him. And this puts us at 100. Pretty wild that we are actually there. Here's some special pages in the yearbook for you just to celebrate the fact that we actually got to 100 and we actually got Jorge. So there you go. Man, we're about halfway done with this, I would say, because we now have the 100 duplicants. Now it's a matter of just keeping them safe and keeping them all alive, which we should be able to do. So a couple of small things that are changing here. I'm just going to start moving these two rooms somewhere else just because they're not in the best spot right now. So I'm going to create their own little section over here that we're going to continue to grow these peppers because I guess we might as well. I'm trying to think of, like, is this actually a better spending of our resources? Let me look. So for the bread is a lot of sleet wheat for only 4,000 calories. So I kind of don't think it is. Spicy tofu, 3,600. It only adds another like 400. So actually, maybe I just won't grow these peppers. At least not for right now. I'll just kind of leave this room how it is. At least for now, we will just get our fertilizer going again because, well, do we even really need that? I don't know. Maybe here, let's do this. I'll just have this area kind of be defunct as we delete all this other stuff. If we need a new area for peppers or for fertilizer, we'll do that here, but since we have the Hermit, I think we're good. So yeah, that ought to do it. Cool. So the last thing that we need to do for this video is just get our cooling setup going. So let me clear out all the stuff that's here for the time being, and we will get a proper cooling setup going like we've been talking about. We have plenty of plastic. We should have plenty of steel by now. Let me check. Utilities, aqua tuner. Yeah, we have a lot. So we should be good now. All right, so let me get this all cleared out and then we'll start the cooling setup. Okay, now that we have everything cleared out, let's start setting up our cooling system. If you've seen aqua tuners and steam turbines before, this ought to look pretty familiar. But we are going to have a room here that's going to be entirely filled up with steam, and a room up here that's going to be filled up with a bunch of steam turbines. This bottom room is going to be filled up with ethanol and a whole bunch of metal tiles, which we'll talk about in just a bit. But the idea is this is going to be extremely cold, and we're going to disperse cold liquid around the map by having it flow in and out of these reservoirs that are in here. And this is all radiant pipes, so when these reservoirs are circulating their liquid, they will be exchanging their temperatures with this extremely cold ethanol. So what's inside the reservoirs is also ethanol, but what's inside the ones that are going to be connected to the aqua tuners is nectar. That's because nectar has a really high heat capacity. It can hold a lot, which means it will get a lot more benefit from being sent through the aqua tuner than other things. Nectar. So here we go. Our heat capacity is 4.1. That's pretty good. Only polluted water is better than that, and it's only slight. For example, a different liquid, ethanol is about half of this, so we'd get about half of the use of sending it through an aqua tuner. It also has a huge range, so it can go down to about -82 and up to 160. So we can definitely keep this extremely low. We could probably keep this down around, I don't know, like -30 or something like that. And that could be used to cool down all the other surrounding areas. If we take a look at the ethanol that's in here, if I can even click on it, there. Its freezing point is -114, so it can go really low. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is snaking through a whole bunch of conveyor rails. I was like conveyor belts, but they're not really that. Conveyor rails, just so if we need to cool anything down, we can send it through here. And same thing with our plumbing. So if we need to cool anything down, like for example, if I'm making this really hot ethanol from this wood up here, we can use this to cool it down by just running a pipe through the center of it. And also for oxygen, we will eventually be cooling a whole bunch of oxygen in a huge highway here. So I'll probably move this oxygen setup and set it up maybe over here or something like that. And we'll make it gigantic. And this will be our highway for most of our oxygen production. We'll probably also get rid of this setup too, because we've kind of demonstrated that this anti-entropy thermal nullifier isn't really enough to push it. It's only doing an okay job right now because we've had other sources that are keeping this fairly pressurized. So if it were all running at 100%, it would just not, it would settle at a temperature that's not great. We'd like to ideally settle it at a temperature that can still sustain all of the plants and stuff that we have growing out here. So, now that we have this, let's start building it out. So let's start with our aqua tuners. These need to be made out of steel, as does pretty much everything in this room. And I want to push these over kind of far. So I will toss them about as far over as they can go without overlapping the plumbing too much. Because we need to have stuff traveling in and out of these. And it will be coming from these tanks of nectar. So I can just connect them up like this. Pretty simple. And as long as they are not overlapping each other, we should be fine. I do want to put a couple more things in here, by the way. I want to put in some liquid reservoirs that have really hot oil in them, because we can connect that up to our metal refineries and use all of the heat that these metal refineries produce and just put it into the steam so that we get power on our steam turbines. It's a lot easier to keep stuff cooled down like that than to just try to cool it all with really cold liquid. So I'm going to throw in a few liquid reservoirs made out of steel. And these will just need to be connected up to a couple of liquid shutoffs, again, also steel, because they're going to be in here. And I'm just going to place them like a tile away from there. So the piping for this is just going to be something pretty straightforward, like this. So the hot oil is going to come out, and it will sit here until it interacts enough with the steam to be at a certain temperature. When it's below like 180 or so, then I will let it through, only because that's about the temperature I can guarantee it will get down to with these steam turbines running. You could potentially go down a little bit further, but then you start to lose some of that efficiency by not actually having the steam turbines running at like optimal temperatures. I'm not really making sense. Okay, I must be very tired. Let's go ahead and finish up getting the rest of this connected. Our lines for the rest of this are just going to have to come up here just a little bit. It'll like come up through the top here, and it'll just kind of exchange its temperatures with the steam, and it will eventually be a much more efficient way to cool things. Like I mentioned, the steam turbines are just going to be up here, so we don't need to make these out of steel. We should save that for things that we actually need. We could just use iron for this, I guess, since we have so much of it. So this is going to be a big power generator, but it'll also be part of the equation that's going to be so powerful to cool all this stuff down. The last thing that we're going to need in here is stuff for glass. So we need a place for the glass to fall on the ground, so something like that. And then we need a way to ship it out of here while also kind of snaking through and exchanging its temperatures with a bunch of other stuff. So we're going to need a auto sweeper. I don't know why it didn't build. I clicked. And then a conveyor loader. So if we have that, we can just kind of snake it through here a little bit, like this. This is probably overkill, but who cares? Then once it's finally ready to start getting cooled down, we can snake it through the liquid a little bit and then join it up with this other part that will eventually go all the way through. By the time this is done, this glass should be coming out at an extremely low temperature. But most of the heat of the glass will be put into the steam. So yeah, this is looking pretty busy right now because there's a lot of parts to this. And I'm mostly doing this if you haven't ever seen this before. Probably a good amount of people that have seen this quite a few times. But this is a pretty classic setup for a reason. It's one of the best ones you can get. We do need to get the gas pump in here. And we also need a point for all of our steam turbines to drain into. So they are going to need their own lines to come down here and drop back into the tank. There's a couple ways you could do this, by the way. A lot of people like to just use the water that comes out of the steam turbines to cool it down, but I've hit issues with that before. Like, it's not 100% bulletproof, so I don't want to subject us to having troubles with that. I need to also leave some space for our glass that's going to be coming down this line. So let's do this, and then that will eventually be connected up to the glass. These will all be connected up to the metal refineries. I'll clean up all this piping and stuff. It'll get a little bit better. This ethanol pipe doesn't necessarily need to be here for too much longer. But yeah, that's kind of the idea, and that's all the moving parts. So let my duplicants build this, and then I will close everything up, and we will start to vacuum it out. We'll put some water in, then we'll let this start running, and we'll start cooling everything down. Alright, just about ready to do the final steps to prepare this properly. So I'm going to close off both the top or the middle and the top, just so that we have those closed off, because we want this to all be steam. I want this to be overpressurized with oxygen. We already have a loop of cooling flowing right now, but it's obviously not very cold because we haven't turned everything on yet. So I'm going to close those up as soon as my duplicants can get up here and do this. And I will start also vacuuming out this interior chamber so that it's a total vacuum, so there's not any oxygen or anything in the way that might block these steam turbines, which definitely can happen. Got that. Let's start getting some water inside the chamber. It should start flowing here in a second. Yep, there we go. So we got some clean water coming down. Doesn't really matter how much you fill this up. I like to make it a little bit more dense than normal, just so that it's like a more intense exchange because it's more dense. Definitely can help out in the long run. So yeah, just going to be filling this up with water. Let's also set these. So if I want this whole tank of water to be roughly -30, then if this is ever above like -30, then I'll let it go through. So I'm going to copy that onto all of the setups for my nectar, and we'll just watch it run. So here's the nectar setup. Oh, I need to get used to doing this. I always say that. Here's the nectar setup. So it's going to be coming out and being evaluated to see what temperature it is. If it's above -30, it's going to be allowed through this liquid shutoff into the aqua tuner and then back out into the tank. So this will eventually stabilize at about -30, but it's going to be constantly cycling and exchanging its temperatures with everything around it. Need to connect this to make sure we're actually pumping the gas out. So eventually this water is going to heat up to the point that it's steam, and that will start to activate our steam turbines once it gets warm enough. So yeah, this is pretty much the whole setup. I do want to show it while it is all covered in steam, so let me run this for a little bit and we will set up the rest. We're probably going to set up the oil stuff in the next video because I still have quite a bit to do to get access to it. Here's the oil biome right now that we'll be entering in the next episode for sure. We just need a lot more suits. I want to put up some transit tubes first because this takes forever for my duplicants to get all the way down here. So if I'm going to be doing stuff en masse down there, I'd rather have the transit tubes up so they can move around quicker. Another thing, by the way, too, is we have a lot more power consumption, so I did add a whole bunch of solar panels that they're running. They're not the most powerful things, but you might as well take the free power if you have it. So we're going to be getting that online in a bit, too. So let me give this a little bit to start to boil so we can see everything in action. I'll also start letting some oxygen in here to overpressurize it. So yeah, we'll get that up in just a bit. Okay, we've got our glass forge spinning again. So here comes some molten glass, and it's going to be dropped off in the middle of this chamber. So that ought to do it. Everything is pretty much up and running now, except for the steam turbines. But let's see if this puts enough heat in here to get the turbines to start working. So the glass should harden as soon as it gets in here, and it's going to heat up the steam a lot, especially as it kind of carts around on the conveyor rails here. So ideally, once we get up to about 125 is when the steam turbines are going to start turning on. And ideally, all of the glass will have at least most of its energy. There we go, just picked up a bunch right here. We'll have most of its energy put into the steam before it heads down into the ethanol. Looks like it's still pretty hot. If we need to, we could always just put this on some type of automation for timers or something like that. But I'm not super worried about, like, guaranteeing that it's a certain temperature before it goes in here, because this is going to be so cold, it'll get it down to a reasonable temperature pretty easily. You could also put a conveyor shutoff on this as well. So you could throw it, like, here, and also hook up a thermosensor for the conveyor rails right next to it to make sure that the glass that's coming down is at a good temperature before it leaves. But this is fine. This is a more simple version, I guess. I'd say about, 70, 80% at least of the energy that it has is being put into the steam anyway. And I'm not secretly stalling to try to get these steam turbines to turn on. There we go. So there we go. The whole setup is now running. The only thing we need now is to get oil to put in here, but that oil is sitting at the bottom of the map, and it's going to take our duplicants a long time to get into there and move back and forth if we're having them travel by ladders and on foot and stuff. So I kind of want your input, actually. If you've gotten this far, let me know if you want to see a transit tube for the duplicants to use from, like, the center of the base and come down here and work, or if you want another small colony to be down here of duplicants that just live here full time, and they'll be much closer to what we need them to be doing down here, especially when we start taking care of this geothermal heat pump. We're definitely going to need either a way for duplicants to get here quickly or duplicants that already live here. So let me know which one you'd rather see, and I will do that. In the meantime, I don't know what that was for. In the meantime, let's do one more thing. Let's grab these achievements that we need to get. Where is my printing pod? Here we go. Let's grab these achievements that we need to get. Oh, if this is disabled, I can't get in there. Wait, what happens if I click this? Oh, interesting. Okay, well, there's oil biome, and there is revealing 80% of the map. So there you go. We've made some decent achievement progress without really paying that much attention to it. So either way, that's a good thing for us. So now that we're here, let's go ahead and call it good for this video, and I will be back as soon as possible with the next part. It does take a little bit longer to get these ones out because there's so many duplicants, and because it takes a little bit longer for them to travel and do stuff. So, yeah. I'll get it out as soon as I can, though, and I'll see you back here for the next episode really soon.